Coming up on show 503, the new Renault Zoe. The e-Golf is still for sale, and you can book an EV charger. Those stories and many more. There's a couple of light-hearted ones in there. Some more serious stories coming up on the podcast today. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. In fact, wherever you're listening around the world, welcome to EV News Daily. Start of a brand new week, Monday, 17th of June today. My name is Martyn Lee. I go through every EV story that I can find to save you time, and thank you, as always, to myev.com for helping to make this show. If you've been listening for a long time, you'll be more than well aware of myev.com. If you are new to the podcast, though, check them out. In the USA, myev.com, saving you time on buying and selling only EVs. Welcome to the On Location edition today. From a hotel room today on Monday evening, I'm recording this, and it's not too bad. Recently decorated, 7th floor, above a train line, so a little bit noisy, but that's okay. Free Kit Kat, who doesn't love a free chocolate bar in a hotel room, and free coffee, but I best not crack open the coffee now because it's almost time for bed. I'll be wide awake at midnight tonight. Let's talk very quickly about those awaiting the Model 3 in the UK. 3 more days, Thursday this week, Thursday 20th. That is so exciting for a bunch. I don't know. We don't know how many, but a bunch of Tesla Model 3 people who have got their car in the country now. It's been unloaded and they're being taken ready for collection on Thursday. We just don't know how many are here. It's in the hundreds, I would say, or how many are also on a boat to make it to the UK, to make it to Europe, to make it to China by the end of the quarter. And of course, we think domestically 1,000 are being delivered every single day in North America as well. These are some insane stats. We think that's true, but I'll keep an eye on them. New Patreon producer, Ian Turner. Hello, Ian. Thank you for your support. New producer signed up today and sent me a little note saying, great work. I've been listening for... Look, I'll just correct you there. It's not great and it's not work, but I appreciate the compliment. Been listening for 6 to 8 months. I'm one of the lucky few to pick up their Model 3 performance from West Drayton on Thursday. There'll be 4,000 to 5,000 picking up their Model 3s over the next few months. I thought I would create a delivery checklist, and he sent it on to me, and it's really, really interesting. And he's taken it from the US checklist and added a bunch of stuff for UK, but even down to, checking the paint when you open the doors, checking for scratches, making sure that if you've bought one with full self-driving, that it's enabled. I didn't think that was going to be a problem, but people add it to the checklist just to make sure. Even making sure that hands-free works, because people have had problems with the microphone. So a little checklist when you get your handover of your car. He's done a fabulous... If you'd like this, by the way, I can send on a copy if you would find it interesting. Email me, hello@evnewsdaily.com. I'll check with Ian that he's happy for me to send it over, but it's pretty comprehensive, so that when you get your car, everything is covered off. So today was a big day here in Europe for the new Renault Zoe being announced, and officially we've had some leaks, but officially announced at midday today. And I thought I'd run through it because, long-term listeners of the podcast know this is the car I drive myself. It's got a new... Oh, and by the way, Europe only. It's not a car that America gets, by the way. Far too small for your roads in the USA. It would look like a little dinky toy. Moving up to a 52 kilowatt hour battery. That's pretty nice. In terms of charging, it's always had what's called a chameleon charger, but now it's got, which is always AC charging, up to 43 kilowatts AC, which is mega fast, but no DC fast charging. That's now been fixed. I think adding, that's 50 kilowatt DC fast charging. They've added Google Maps and Google Maps Search. Big deal. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, stronger regen, really sensible specs on the car. Something that wasn't picked up by many car sites today at the launch, you can get the new bigger battery, 52 kilowatt hour, but with a choice of 2 motors, the current motor or a bigger motor, which is the new one, the R135. Disc brakes all around, used to have drum brakes on the back, 10-inch screen is standard. Electronic parking brake, so no more handbrake turns in the Zoe, not that you were doing many of those anyway. USB sockets in the rear, and a big leap forward in terms of the driver's instrument cluster. Still a TFT display, bit of a throwback there to all the other Zoes, but it's a bit like Tesla with the sat-nav in the middle of two dials. So on the left-hand side, your speed and your power, and on the right-hand side, I think kind of your eco driving, and in the middle, some turn-by-turn sat-nav. Really, really nice. DC charging is optional, by the way. DC charging has been reported today as coming to the new Zoe. Yes, it's optional. Now, I highly recommend you check out Craig and the Renault Zoe Owners Club, and he did a great video today. He did ask one of the French team at the event where he was at last week and said, is DC charging standard? And they looked a little uncomfortable and went, we'll confirm later. Well, it's been confirmed via Renault. The optional DC charger is what's coming with it. Availability of a 100 kilowatt motor on what they call the GT line models. LED lights are going to be standard, 75% more than equivalent halogens. In fact, all LED lighting. I've had to replace my bulbs before for the indicator lights on the Zoe, but no more. Every light, including inside, or lots of little atmospheric lighting inside, is all LED. New eco meter, sat nav is turn by turn, wireless phone charging. If you have a phone that can, with a wireless kind of Qi charger, you can do that. The battery pack, I thought this was interesting. The battery pack is the same dimensions, the increase in range, increase in capacity, but like they did before when they went from 22 to 41 kilowatt hour, exactly the same. Does it mean you can swap out the battery pack? Well, I highly doubt it. You can't with the current ones. For the new Zoe, they focused on the same cell size but just more power. By the way, range 242 miles on WLTP, which is the European test cycle, a bit like our version of the EPA range. 242 miles, 0 to 60, all they'll say is less than 10 seconds. So let's call it 9.9. Top speed, well, you won't be breaking any track records. 87 miles an hour top speed. There's a new regen mode. There's a new B mode for regen. This is super cool. You can either leave it in, because the Zoe doesn't have strong regen. Never has. You have to rest your foot on the brake pedal to engage the regen. It's a different way of doing it. It's not one pedal driving. It's like when I drive a Tesla, I have to put a Tesla in chill mode, because otherwise I can't, my right foot doesn't work. Or rather, I'm too abrupt with my movements. But because I'm used to driving the Zoe, you let your foot off. And there is regen, right? There is some, but it's not hard. It's not one pedal driving. What's coming to the Zoe? One pedal driving. In B mode, it won't bring you to a complete stop, but almost. D mode, though, puts the car back in the, like, for existing Zoe owners. So it's more like freewheeling with a little bit of regen. It's got a ton of safety stuff. It's got lane departure warning, lane keep assist, all this kind of stuff that you would get on a modern car. And I asked for your comments on what you thought of the new Renault Zoe. David Finch says, looks great, fresh and recognisably a Zoe. He thinks it needs 100 kilowatt charging though. Only downside is going to be the AC charging on the old Zoes, he says, is a nail in the coffin for them. Mark Gordy says no adaptive cruise control is annoying. Paul Roberts says it looks fab, nice upgrade. EV Man says, how can Nissan have got it so wrong when even the little Zoe, which is much cheaper than the Leaf, even the little Zoe has got active thermal management on the battery to keep it cool, and they can't do that with a new Leaf. Hello to, that was Mike Winter, who was agreeing with the point on active thermal management. Hello to the Twitter account EV Journey. It's a price that's similar to the Zoe, they say, which would make it compelling. Yeah, totally agree, because you're going to be up against the E208 and the ID, the Not a Golf. EV Puzzle online says, if the driver's seat is height adjustable, I might be interested. Yes. Beardy McBeardface, who is a patron of the show, says if they can do something about the extortionate £4,000 upfront cost on Motability, he'll be interested. Hello to James McKinney, who says on the new Zoe, he thought they might go to 100 kilowatts on DC fast charging. However, over 200 real-world miles is a winner, he says. Hello to Darren, who said the styling is a bit boring. And hello to Andrew Till, who says faster charging would have been nice, but a damn good upgrade. Tillman Winkler. Well, Tillman says it looks like a great deal, trying to persuade my in-laws to get one. Hello to Matt, who says interesting looking vehicle with solid specs. Shame we can't get one in the USA. Well, thank you very much for all of your comments, and sorry for going on so long about it. It is indeed the car that I own. So there you go. Podcast host privileges mean I get to talk about it more than I would have normally. Let's move on to other cars and let's talk about other things that are in the news today. Volkswagen is going to guarantee a capacity of its ID batteries with the launch production of the Not a Golf before the year is out. The compact class model is the first member of the ID family, new generation of cars from them. It's going to go up to 342 miles with the biggest battery pack, but how long will it last? Well, they've put a number on it, 70% capacity after 100,000 miles or 8 years, which is the equivalent of 160,000 kilometres. So they guarantee 70% of the battery on the Not a Golf. I was talking recently on the podcast about the e-Golf, surprised it was still for sale, what with the ID coming soon. One of my friends in America sent me it wasn't a WhatsApp, I think it was like a Skype message of some proof that the e-Golf is very much for sale in the USA. And now, I had a little look online, I thought, let me do some research on this when I got that this morning. Now I can see it's also available in Canada. The e-Golf is very much still on the market, not the ID3, the car that looks like a Golf, same size as a Golf, same price as a Golf. Don't call it a Golf. Relatively low availability, which is easy for me to say, of the e-Golf in Canada prompted some people to think that the car was done, but not so. It's going to be around in 2020, says Mark Kane at InsideEVs. According to the latest news, Volkswagen confirmed the e-Golf is going to be available next year, which is reasonable considering the ID3 is not coming to North America yet, and that the Cross version will be in North America from 2021. I'll put a link to InsideEVs in the show notes. Happy news for Nissan and the ENV200. That is the battery-powered van / people carrier. You can get it with seats. UK sales of the fully electric ENV200 have increased by 200% this year so far, and it comes as small business leaders look to increase fleet efficiency, reduce their costs amidst changing legislation. The surging demand echoes the results of what was a recent Nissan survey showing that about a quarter, 24% of UK small businesses expect their van fleets to be fully electric within 10 years. Moving on to PSA Group, that would otherwise be known as Peugeot or Peugeot, Citroën, DS and Opel/Vauxhall. That group is the latest car maker to decide to produce battery models and packs for their electric cars in Eastern Europe, says InsideEVs. According to Reuters, PSA have selected Slovakia and the plant there in somewhere called Trnava. I've probably said that massively wrong. Trnava. It's going to be supplemented by a plant in Spain. No details about which models or even pack capacity coming from Slovakia. More and more big cities around the world are announcing plans for clean air and EV infrastructure support. London Mayor Sadiq Khan did a big event today. I knew some people that were at that, like Dan, who's one of the guys that, it was the MD, Fully Charged, for instance, the guy that puts on Fully Charged Live. He was tweeting about it today. London Mayor Sadiq Khan has unveiled a plan for EV infrastructure, which aims to put as many as 50,000 EV charge points in the city by 2025. London looks to become a zero-emission transport city by the year 2030, says Phil at Electrek. Phil says the plan looks to eliminate barriers to further accelerate the already rising rate of EV adoption right here in London, where I am right now recording this podcast. Increase of EVs from around 20,000 today to 330,000 in the next 6 years. It's about to explode in terms of EVs here in the UK. Also, my friends from Urban Electric were there. Always good to see them tweeting about it as well. If you'd like to know what Urban Electric is all about, pop-up car chargers. They get buried in the pavement, in the street for on-street parking. They pop up, plug your car in. When you're done, they go back down into the pavement. No street furniture to look at. It's an amazing idea. Search Urban Electric. They were there as well. They were advising, I think, or at least part of the plan, which is so wonderful. I mentioned recently on the podcast about a new app which said that one of the features they were going to develop was the ability to book a charge point. And I said at the time, yesterday, day before, whenever it was, how does that work? And then I found this story. Delhi in India. The first electric vehicle charging station in a public area has been installed in India's capital city, Delhi. Along with a charging station, a new mobile app has been launched to help EV drivers in Delhi, says Clean Technica. To assist vehicle users with charging, you open up your app and you can book a slot to charge your car using the app. I still have no idea how this would work in practice, because if you turn up to charge your car and someone's on the charger, I just don't know how that conversation goes. I've opened the app. This is obviously in Indian. I've opened the app. That's my nerd voice, but it would be the nerd Indian who is an EV geek. I've opened the app and I've booked a charge. Can you please get off the charger? And you go, no, I'm charging my car. It's weird booking. Imagine if you could book a charger. Well, maybe it is great technology and I just can't get my tiny brain around it. There's every chance of that, by the way. Well, thank you very much for listening today. I would love you to take part in this week's question of the week, set by the team at myev.com. Thank you for sending in your answers so far. Please send me yours to this question. What's the best way to spread the word about EVs? That is, what's the best way to spread the word about EVs? I'd love to hear from you. Facebook and YouTube comments are always good. You can email me anytime. hello@evnewsdaily.com. Well, there are now 222 patrons of the podcast. Thank you very much for your support. Patreon.com/EVNewsDaily. Thank you to Phil Roberts from Electric Future and Brad Crosby, our premium partners, and everybody else who does support this show. If you'd like to get any of the previous shows, there are 502 of them online, and you can download those for free. If you want to get the new ones, please do hit subscribe. If you're not yet a subscriber, maybe you're listening to this online or something, open your podcast app, hit subscribe. I'd love you to listen every day. If it's of any value, I do this show for free, just to spread the word about EVs, just to help us all breathe clean air in the towns and cities, the villages, the communities in which we live. And if you can do me a little favour and share this podcast with anyone who might be interested, well, that'd be amazing. Come and say hi on the socials by searching EV News Daily. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.